I want to talk to you a little bit about a method I've been using to quarantine my fish for, probably over a decade now. I've been extremely successful. I've had no failures using this method. If you look here, you can see that I quarantine each and every fish individually. Now, if you look at my containers, they are plastic drawers from a shelving unit I got, like I said, over a dozen years ago. But if I fill them up to the top with water, it's 2 gallons of water. So I only fill them up halfway, it's 1 gallon. This makes it easy if I decide to medicate. If a fish has spots on it and I decide to put copper in it, then I can handle them in this container with 1 gallon of water, with the 1 or 2 drops of medication, whatever is called for, and then continue on with my practice. But I will hold the fish longer if it does have spots. But let's go through the method. Naturally, I'm going to purchase the best looking, healthiest fish I can get. But I still make the assumption that the disease is there, cryptocarians at least. So they go into the quarantine, but I automatically start acclimating them using my main tank water. Here's the key. I'm using the water out of my aquarium that the fish are going to be released to. So I'm automatically, from the first day, acclimating them into my tank water. What this means is you're going to end up doing a water change in your main tank. Now, I used to automatically start adding fresh water and bringing it down to hyposalinity. I no longer feel that you have to do that. You can do that. It's an option that you can use. I call it the 1-2 punch. One, I was going to treat the fish as if it was diseased by going to hyposalinity, and 2, I was going to change out 100% of the quarantine container's water every other day. Here's the thing about keeping your quarantine fish in the same water as your main tank water is you no longer have the problem of having to work and maintain a separate tank's water quality. As long as you maintain your main tank's water quality, of course all of us do, then they will have quality water. And if you change it out every other day, 100%, then they maintain quality water, and you don't have to worry. Here's the other benefit, is you don't have to worry about keeping your water cycled because of ammonia. They can go a couple days and they won't have ammonia poisoning, provided you don't overfeed and leave food in the quarantine tank just sitting there overnight. So I'll feed them. What they don't eat, I'll immediately take out. And then the trophin stage, that's the stage where the parasite, an adult parasite, is attached itself to this fish and actively feeding upon your fish, and can be visible. I shouldn't say is visible, but can be visible. And this stage could last from 3 to 7 days before it then becomes free swimming again in the trophin-free swimming stage. And then it drops off the fish basically in this 4th stage and then looks for substrate to attach to. The thing that you have to be aware of about this free swimming stage is it can take up to 18 hours. So usually within a day after it drops off the fish, it's going to find a suitable place to attach to. When I say suitable place, usually some sort of porous sand or rock is the best, easiest place for it to grab onto and attach to and then start reproducing itself, that torment stage, the 1st stage. That's why everybody likes clear, clean glass, plastic habitat, plastic tubes or whatever for fish habitat, rather than, because it has difficulty grasping onto smooth surfaces. By doing the water change, 100% water change, you break that cycle of the free swimming stage. You don't have to worry about the torment stage of getting in the substrate and multiplying and getting back out and attacking your fish. That's completely gone now because you never give the parasite a chance to attach to a substrate and maintain itself there for 3 days to reproduce. So the only length of time that you're dealing with now is the 3 to 7 days that it could be a mature adult parasite on your fish. I would venture to guess that if you have mature adult parasites on your fish, it should be visible. Some fish, like angelfish, they can have mature parasites on them and you don't get to see them. You may not see them. And so you may want to be a little bit more careful with the angelfish. What I'd like to do is, instead of looking at their scales, look at their pectoral fins, or if they have any, even a tail fin or any of the clear fins. Look straight down on them and see if you see anything on them. If those fins look clear, most likely all of the rest of their body is clear. So here's the procedure I use to do 100% water change. As you can see, I have a bucket full of fresh water. The only way to do 100% water change is to remove your fish. I like to use a cup. If you watch here, I'm using a cup. I never net my fish, and then they go into fresh water. He can hang in there for, I think, up to 7 minutes. I usually go 3 or 4 minutes. I don't let them go past 7 minutes. You don't want to have your fish in the fresh water so long that it stresses them out and ends up killing them. So as long as he still looks strong in the fresh water, I'll keep him in there for a few minutes while I do my 100% water change on the container. So I'm only having to change 1 gallon of water. So I'll take the fish out first. I'll take out any plastic habitat that I put in there, which is usually some power head casings or PVC pipe or whatever. I'll put that in. I'll rinse and wash that off good and put that and soak it in fresh water for a half hour or something like that. But if you want, you could always put a new piece of PVC pipe to ensure yourself that you don't have anything. Straight into a brand new, dry, clean container. In this case, as you see, I'm doing 4 fish at once, and I even have to have this oddball container that was over the back filter for one of my fish. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have to clean and rinse out the container and put the fish back in it. But I do prefer to use a clean, dry container that was cleaned a day or so before and not put them right back in the same container I took them out of for, whenever possible. So using this method, I'm only trying to work through the adult stage. Given the adult stage, it's 3 to 7 days chance to get off the fish and then be removed through my 100% water changes. And by the way, this is another good benefit of quarantine fish if you're not doing quarantine now, is it gives you a chance to observe your fish, get him as healthy and as fat as possible before he goes in the community and starts having to be stressed out with other fish looking him over and possibly even chasing him. And if he doesn't have any fat and energy, he may wear out too quick. And it gives you a chance to see what kind of foods he will eat. Every now and then I'll get a fish I just can't get him to eat. Some of the downsides of my method are some of the bigger fish will not go in these little quarantine containers I have. You'll have to get a larger quarantine container. And some fish, particularly tangs, do not like to be in quarantine. A lot of fish, you got to provide some kind of habitat tube or a PVC pipe or something to keep them somewhat secure. Otherwise, they'll just be stressed. But tangs, a lot of times they'll get stressed in the quarantine environment where everything is bare. If you do end up medicating or going to hyposalinity, you should do so until you don't see spots anymore, and then when you feel like the fish is totally clean and you don't see spots anymore, then do another 5 days using my method of doing 100% water changes every other day. You repeat this, like I said, every other day, and by the 4th or 5th day, if everything's good and you don't see any signs of diseases, any body rubbing, any spots on fins, And I've successfully done this with many fish in my aquariums for the last, like I said, decade to 12 years, completely successful without ever contaminating my aquarium from this method. Now, some of you may feel that this is not the proper method to quarantine a fish, and that it's irresponsible for me to suggest this method. I understand that this isn't the absolute guarantee. There's so many people I know who don't want to go through the hassle of quarantine, or just not doing it at all. And if this gets more people to do something rather than nothing, I feel like we can save a lot of fish and a lot of frustration and tanks that have been going down from full breakout when they would have much better chance using my method. And so, my hope is that if you haven't been doing quarantines and you don't have the setup for it, that maybe my method would provide you and encourage you to at least do something, and hopefully you would have just as much success with it as I've had. So I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments on this. I'm looking forward to them. Go ahead and comment, and I welcome that. Subscribe if you like. Thank you for watching.